All right, DEOKZ in the house. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming, man.
Anytime, it took a few times, but hey, I'm here, right?
Hey, you know, sometimes it's like that. You know, it takes a little bit.
That's right.
So, what crews are you repping these days?
Right now, I'm from UCR, Uncontrollable Reactions, and RNH. No, respected and hated. Out for action. Those are my three crews right now. I've been UCR for a long time. RNH, I just got put down. First one to get put down since I say early 2000s.
What year did you get? When did you get put down on there?
RNH?
Yeah.
About a year ago.
About a year ago.
About a year going on 2 years.
Dang.
Yeah.
What about OFA? How long you been in that
OFA? I've been with OFA for about a couple of years as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
right.
UCR got put down back in 2008.
2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
What time did you start? What year did you start writing?
When I started writing, I say about when I was like 11 or 12. But when I really started taking it serious, it was like 2007, 2008.
Okay.
That's when I started like actually like pushing it. But when I mean this is like high school, you know what I mean? But when I started like pushing my name heavy was like early 2010s, 09, 08, around there.
What got you into it, like graffiti?
What got me into it, I would always see it, you know. When I was a kid, I would always see it and shit. Well, I went out there in Mexico, and I had a cousin that would draw a lot, and he would do letters, you know. And I thought, like, what is that? You know, that's pretty cool. So I pretty much asked him, like, hey, do my name. And from there, that's when it started, you know. And I came back to the States. I'm talking about like 2002. I was probably like in middle school. I was probably like 7th, 8th grade. And my cousin, I got my older cousin and shit. He used to go by the name Shade. You know, he's the one. I remember one time he's like, "Hey, let's go bombing." I didn't know what that was. You know what I mean? And my cousin was like, "You better not tell my parents and shit. You better not say shit." I'm like, all right, you know. And I remember like walking down Van Nuys Boulevard, him and his old homie of mine and shit, fucking tagging up the fucking boulevard in Van Nuys. And I was like, so this is bombing. We were in reality, like, now that I'm older, like, we're just tagging and shit. We don't know what the fuck we're doing, you know what I mean? So that's when I actually started getting into it, you know what I mean? And ever since then, I'm, you know, still around, you know?
Yeah, it's a hard habit to quit. I got cases, you know, I had kids, been married. Yeah, it's just so.
Yeah, it's fucking hard, you know what I mean? I've been busted several times just for that shit. I mean, I never hit the pin, but I've been to the county, you know. But I mean, shit, I've gotten caught multiple times, and it's hard to kick. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to kick, bro. Especially like I've been out and about, you know. I've been out there in the streets and shit when I was doing battle one time, and that's all I did, just tagging shit. You know what I mean?
It's funny you say. I remember when I was in, I think I was like 14, 15, and I went with my older homies. Like, we were going down, like, fucking, one fool had a license, so, like, we're all in the car just walking, going down Ventura Boulevard, just walking, like, all the fucking miles, just tagging our shit. You think, hey, we're going out bombing, but yeah, you really, like you said, just essentially just going out tagging, you know, but it was different then, you know.
The mentality, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm over here, like, I'm a fucking big timer. But in reality, it's like, dude, you're just starting off and shit.
That shit was funny because I remember when Dude was interviewing someone, or they were interviewing Dude. He was talking about when he got a couple streaks and he thought he was really, you know, going out and killing the whole streak and shit. Thought he was doing something. It's just when you're younger, it's a different way. But you know what? You got to start somewhere, you know.
Yeah, that's how I started off.
Yep,
you know, I remember catching the bus at 233 all the way to Foothill. You know, Foothill from Van Nuys all the way to Sherman Oaks.
Yeah.
George Ventura, I remember having like a 12 pack of yellow streaks, just fucking catching every fucking meter.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was fucking getting up. I mean, yeah, but you know what? It's not like when you're really getting up. It's when you're out there bombing and shit. You know what I mean? That's what I consider bombing and shit. Getting up.
Yeah, getting some spot on a fucking freeway where like a lot of motherfucking like thousands of people are seeing it a day. You know?
You know.
But How, that name DEOKZ is a little. How do you? I see. Right. Sometimes you write with a K. Sometimes with an X. Like, what does it mean? Like, how did you get that name?
I came out. So back then, before I came across this name, I actually gave it to a friend of mine. You know, I remember when was it? 2005. We were in what was it? In high school and shit. You know, he's like, hey, like, come up with a name. You know, like, I wanna tag. You know, so I'm just like, I was looking around and shit. I'm like, here, do this. Video, VIDEO.
Yeah.
Fucking, I just added the K, and I'm like, here, bro, write DEOK. When I gave it to him, he's like, all right, for sure. At that time, I used to write Kest. You know, like Kest, Kest.
I used to write that. That was one of my first names.
Yeah, no way.
I swear to God, like I've only wrote like
shit.
3 things. Like like there's some fool in LA right now writing that name. I know. And he's doing it. He's doing good things.
Yeah, that's dope.
I didn't write that. This is like when I was in junior high, like a long time. Like I wrote Kid. That's when I got busted. I was like in like 6th or 7th grade. And then when I had to change my name because like I got arrested at school, like junior high, like school police, like my parents knew who I was, so I had to, that's when I went to Poise from Kest. But yeah, like that was, I've only wrote like 3 names really, like Rook, and then like I did like Kest, and then like when I got busted with Kest, I wrote my name Danny, but DANEE, and fucking Poise, like, but then I realized Danny was a burn. Obviously, I was stupid.
Yeah.
I just always liked the letters, but yeah, that's funny you said that, Kest. Yeah, I mentioned that in another interview that I did, like when someone was interviewing me, and I'm like, yeah, there's some fool in LA like getting up with that.
Yeah. When I seen that fool, I'm like, that's dope, man. Yeah, that's dope. You know what I mean? So when I wanted to change my name, I was like, you know what? This is not writing that name. Might as well shit. Fuck it. You know, I'm gonna start writing DEOK, and then. I don't know, something was missing. So I'm like, let's add the S. You know what I mean? And I started writing DEOKZ with the S. And over time, I switched it with the Z. I'm like, let's start experimenting, you know what I'm saying, with my letters. I started writing it with the Z. I stuck with the Z for a long time. And then I remember one time it was me and my boy Mort 57, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
You know, solid freaking homie of mine. We're walking down the block right there in Van Nuys and shit on Hazeltine, and he's like, hey, DEOKZ, you got a can? I'm like, yeah, bro, here. The fool, he hit on my name with the X, and I was like, at the beginning I got mad. I'm like, fool, you don't write my name like that, dog. He's like, nah, fool, it's better like that. And I looked at it, I'm like, I was kind of mad, but after a while I'm like, I started writing it like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. I started doing my bombs with the X and shit. And I was like, man, hell yeah, you know what I'm saying? So because of him, I started writing it with the X and shit. Yeah. The majority, I write my name with the X now, you know what I mean? Yeah. I still do my letters with the Z sometimes. Rare when you see an S, you know what I mean? Yeah. But other than that, yeah. That's how I came up with the name DEOKZ. After a while, you know, DEOKZ is the Pokemon. That's when I'm like, you know what? How'd you come up with that name? I'm like, oh, I got it off the Pokemon and shit. You know, but yeah, that's how I came up with my name, bro.
Well, that's cool. You stick with the X too. That's kind of like memorialize your homeboy, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why. Yeah. You know what I mean? Originally, I got the name DEOKZ talking about back in late 2005, early 2006. Yeah. That's how long I've been having this name for, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so since we brought up Mort passed away, rest in peace. Like one of the things that we're doing here, like Graff, is I always want to bring up like writers that like we know that passed away, that like like that, just to keep their name out there, to keep their memory alive, you know. Yeah. So you have any other stories or anything you want to say about Mort, or just
Mort?
Like
I got a lot of stories, man.
Yeah.
I known him since we were kids. Yeah. Yeah, I grew up with Mort. My mom used to take care of him. Okay. You know. Him and another writer, he used to write Primo from Rap Crew, OA. He's not out here no more. He's out there in Bakersfield. All right. But we grew up together. We used to skate right there in the Van Nuys library and shit. You know, the courthouse. Yeah. We used to skate right there and shit. You know, I got a lot of stories and shit. You know, just a lot of good memories with the boy. I miss him. Yeah. You know, there's times where, I think about him. There's times that when I sleep, homeboy comes, you know, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when you think about someone before you go to sleep, and then they come and that, you dream about that.
Yeah, you know, like it's too real. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's too real and shit. But I got a lot of stories with them and shit. But right now, at the back of my head, you know, can't really name a few. You know what I mean?
No, it's cool though. You know, you brought up his name. You know, he kept it out there. You know, rest in peace. He was definitely a valley hitter and a legend.
Yeah.
You know.
He was a heavy hitter at a young age, bro.
Yeah, no, he made waves. You know, he got taken away way too young, actually. You know?
Yeah, I was one of his first mentors.
Yeah,
it really was. Me personally, like for me growing up, most of the tags were from me.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't care. You could say he bit off me. I don't care. You know what I mean? So like the point is, like for me, when I bring somebody under my wing, I'm gonna expect you to get better than me. You know what I'm saying? You like kick you down with some knowledge and shit. That's how I am.
Knowledge you can't get in college. You know, put them on. You know, and you want to see them go do something with it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. Homeboy, remember his first crew he got put down was like EGS. You talking about shit? 2006, 2007. He was already doing fucking rollers on the rooftops in Van Nuys. You know, shit like that. Like. That's the type of shit you don't really see anymore, bro. You know?
What other crews was he in? But I know he was in B&W, like at the end.
He was from MEH.
MEH?
MEH crew. That's one of his crews that he was from in middle school. But other than that, he's always been B&W, kept it solid with the B&Ws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he from Wook too or no?
Yeah, he was from B&W. He was B&W Wook.
Okay, Wook. There you go. Yeah, he's a fucking hitter, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just at court this week. I mean, fuck, it seems like I go every week now. But I was just at Van Nuys. I seen a bunch of skaters out there and shit. Brought back memories right there, like right there at the Van Nuys courthouse. Yep.
That's where I grew up. I grew up in Van Nuys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Originally from Van Nuys and shit. And but shit, I'm everywhere now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Location disclosed.
Yeah. No, for real. Yeah, I was like, I was talking about. I forgot to mention last time my homeboy Bisbee passed away and. He actually got that name from a friend of ours. We were from a crew in high school called OLS, but this fool Jesse, he was the original Bisbee. The fool Bisbee who just passed away, he started writing that because him and Jesse were best friends, and Jesse, the original Bisbee, got killed. He got, like, when the whole tag banging thing got put on, you know, he got, unfortunately got killed in some gang violence, but then Bisbee used to write Cast. And Cass, they were from OLS together, and then he got booted out of OLS, and then he got an OFA, and then rest in peace Bisbee, rest in peace to the other Bisbee and Cass, and rest in peace Mort. That's like one thing we're trying to do is just keep people's names out there, like keep some of that history alive, and because like once it goes on like YouTube and it's like it's out there, so it's documented, so. The younger generation, they know, like these are names that you just, don't bite those names, there's a lot of names like that are legends out there, like, and they shouldn't take those names,
Yeah, I recently found out about your homie Rip.
Oh, Rip.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Rip was that's what me and Ghoul were talking about.
I never met the guy. Never met the guy. But he's starting to kill it, man.
Yeah, he started to kill it hard, man.
Props,
He was just in his peak then, and he got locked up. He was unfortunately got arrested like at the fucking Viorta, man, loss prevention. They fucked him, like got him, and like they put hands on you, so he's trying to get away. So then like a simple theft become a burglary shit. They're trying to give him they tried to give him two 11s, and like he was looking at like 6 years, but he beat both those cases. He did like 6 months in county. Then he did. Then he went into the treatment program, so he was 11 months clean. He was doing good, man. Like, and he like unfortunately, fentanyl's a killer, man. That shit fucking. I don't even like to tell people like what it is, but you know what? Like I've lost so many people to this shit. So anyone out there listening, stay away from that shit. Like they think like, oh, you know what? Like they relapse and they can do what they used to do, and that shit gets them every time.
Your body. Well, once you stop doing drugs, your body like recuperates itself.
So good.
And it's not the same. It's not the same no more. That first hit, you're gonna drop.
Yeah, dude, he dropped. He did it. His girl was asleep. He fucking overdosed. She saved him with Narcan, and like a week later, it just kills me because he was such a good guy and he was doing so good. So anyone out there, don't touch that shit. It's killed like probably 10 of my really close friends the last couple years. And yeah, dude, that fucking Rip was a solid motherfucker though. Like he's just like a good energy guy, you know. And like I just, you know, rest in peace to him too.
That's
Definitely,
right.
I really appreciate you bringing that guy up. Yeah, man. Is there anyone else out there like, you know, over the years that you lost, like that you knew, like that was like
on the drugs and shit?
Well, not just drugs. You know, like they could like you know like you know Toast. He was one of my, like someone asked me, like I got interviewed and they're like, who is like, you know, some writers that. And I'm always just like vandals, like bombers, you know, like Toast. Like I always say, from the I'm a Valley fool, like 818 from my heart, and Gank, GK, and Toast. Those fools in the late '90s, they killed it. Like those fools were like, they're just murderers, you know. They just went out there on a rampage, you know. You know, but he unfortunately lost to gang violence too. So he was one of my favorites.
Well, a few writers? You talking about like
just writers? Yeah, any writers, you know, just to keep their name out there. You know, like you know that it passed away, that like meant something to you, or you know, like you know, the little, you know.
To be honest, more. I had a homie of mine back in the days. At that time, I was kicking it in San Fernando. I was kicking it with the DEOKZ, Blaze Dog Kings. Most of them, half of them transitioned into San Fernando. And at that time, I was kicking it with the DEOKZ. There was a clique called Gone All Crazy, the GACs, the GAs. And I had a friend, his name was Reactor. He passed away at a young age.
Okay.
This was like 2006, 2007.
Shit.
Yeah, what I remember, he was a real cool friend of mine. Fucking feed him and solid ass fool. Fucking, he was walking to school. So he got busted out here, and his parents shipped him out to Texas. And on his way to school, he just collapsed. His heart stopped pumping.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he had a heart attack.
So that just probably had like an enlarged heart, just a natural birth.
Probably, you know. That's it, pretty much, bro.
Yeah. My homie Murd, he used to be out there with those BOKs. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. The fucking. There was another cat. I don't know. He passed away like in a motorcycle accident, I believe. That was used to kick with those guys or something. Yeah, it's just there's so many different ways, man. You know, like that. Like we lose them. So it's just like just to keep their memories out there and shit.
Yeah, I honestly do got a bunch of homies and shit, but like. Most of them weren't really writers.
Yeah.
They were more into the gangbanging.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I lost a few friends that were close to me.
Yeah.
But you know, they were out there gangbanging hard and shit. That's when, like, you're talking about early 2000s, the mid thousands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My homeboy Queso, rest in peace. He used to get up a lot. You're talking about shit 2003, 2004. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when I first started high school and shit. Man. He used to kill. But I heard I lost contact with him because he got into the hood, you know, out there in Van Nuys. And we parted ways. I stopped talking to him. And like 2 years ago, I just found out he passed away.
Oh shit.
You know, I didn't want to get too much into details on how he passed, but the way he went out was pretty brutal, you know. Yeah, it sucks, man.
You know, what's crazy is like, you know, like how you mentioned, like a lot of these writers, they went from like writing to like gangbanging and stuff like that. I always trip on like, I was friends with Triggs, and he was a real cool guy, but he went from like gangbanging to tagging. You know, he went the opposite way. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I met him. I met Triggs a few times.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. You know,
cool guy, man.
Funny guy. You know, but like
funny as fuck.
Yeah, I used to. My homeboy Eric used to always have these barbecues, and that fool would always be over there and shit. And I just like. But I always tripped out on like that, like the reversal with that guy, you know, because he did it way back in the day, like, you know, like the opposite. When it was hard, he did it the hard way, the hard time, you know. Like, that fool got fucked up when you went to jail. He told me, you know, like
yeah.
Especially also being a white boy fucking running Serene, you know, like from a Mexican hood, like he took the hard path in almost every way of his life.
And then at the end he went. They cut on some slack when we started tagging and shit. You know, he got busted, huh? At the end, how many years did he do? Like 5 years?
Fuck, I don't even know. I just know like he was, you know, going in and out there, you know. But I just remember like when one of the times you getting out like because this was, you know, back in the old days, like when, you know, it wasn't like really looking good when you go to jail, like being a writer, like yeah. But like I just always remember that guy picked the hard route no matter what, every route, like, you know, straight up white boy, Mexican hood, and going to jail, running Sereno, and then fucking, you know, like just doing it. I guess some people just want to like go against the grain, you know, and that's cool. He carved his own path, you know. He's a legend, you know. Rest in peace.
Yeah, he did, man.
Yeah, I met him and Norm around some time, and like Norm was a really nice guy too. Rest in peace, you know. passed away too soon, you know. But he was very talented. I wanted to get tattooed by that fool.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah,
It never happened.
I know it didn't happen. Yeah, he just had sick letters, you know. Like some people just have that really cool style, you know. Norm, and Norm was a super friendly guy too, you know.
Yeah,
those guys were both really cool. Recipes, legends, right there.
Who was your favorite writer growing up?
I said it, man. Gank and Tulsa and Gank.
Me growing up, I remember I used to be on the 50 millimeter. Remember that shit back in the day? 50 ml Los Angeles. I used to see Atlas and shit.
Yeah.
And honestly, Atlas was one of my favorite writers and shit. You know, growing up and shit. I remember Tulsa was one of them too.
Yeah.
I like Tulsa's letters and shit. His style and everything is fucking dope, man.
I just love how that fool was fucking like a spider. Like him and Gank, they'll climb up anything. Like you see him up in like some crazy ass high random place. Because that reminds me like when I first time I really fell in love with like, because I grew up in a neighborhood where like everyone was skating and doing graffiti. But I didn't really realize like how big it could be until like I took a field trip down to the Natural History Museum and I saw Euler up all over like crazy shit, you know. And I was just like, wow, okay, this was really doing it, you know. And those two fools were like that. And you know what's funny is 50 millimeter. You mentioned that because Unit was one of my favorite writers growing up, and I used to see Unit all the time. But it turns out I just interviewed 1987, and I guess Unit actually lived in the same city where I grew up. Like I grew up Reseda.
Really?
Yeah, Reseda, Northridge area,
okay.
and he lived in Northridge. And I always wondered. I'm like, dude, I see this fool like up with like little ass like scribes and shit. Like you know what I mean? So it makes sense now that like I see, because you know when you're little, you know, I'm skateboarding around. You know, like my world's a lot smaller. Yeah. You know, but Unit I thought was up everywhere. But yeah, I mean, that fool, and he's the one who created 50 millimeter.
Yeah, I remember that. You know,
that's a fucking
Esto's another one.
No.
Esto, I remember when they were barely building up Panorama City High School and shit. I remember catching the bus and shit. I used to see Salo Dinky with Esto and some other fool, I think Hassel. Remember that crew Y2K?
Yeah.
When they were tagging Y2K?
Yeah.
I saw how long it's been, you know? I remember Esto seeing that fool everywhere, man. Going all the way to East LA and shit. Fucking down Whittier, Long Beach and all that. That fool killed it, man.
This fool Acro used to kill it on the buses a lot too.
Acro TVU?
Yeah, rest in peace to him too. And then like I rode the 152 a lot, so like Ghost and Smurf, like Ghost used to work like there on Tampa and Roscoe, so like and he used to live by like Sepulveda and Roscoe, so like that was always killed by all those fools, you know. Like all the UTIs would go to like that little Taco Bell like when he'd get off work, and then they would take the bus down to his pad and go, those fools. I always looked up to those guys. They're always super cool to the youngsters. Like Ghost, Smurf, you know, rest in peace, Ghost, and then
so Ghost too, rest in peace. I remember meeting Ghost.
Yeah,
back when what was it? Groove Riders was still around.
Yeah.
Groove Riders in the basement.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people know about that shit, man.
Oh yeah, Groove Riders, baby. Yeah.
Remember that shit? I remember. I was 16 when I bought my first black book of Groove Riders and shit. Yeah. Before I switched to the other small street.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
You know,
I remember that shit, bro.
Little Dougie too for like that Buffalo with Smurf. It was just funny because Ghost is all like tall and skinny, and then like Smurf is all like little and shit. So they would always be like, you know, like the odd couple.
Yeah. I remember last time I saw Ghost. I was at a bus stop right there in Pacoima, and he was right there sitting down having a beer.
Yeah.
I actually went across the street and I said what's up to him, and I was talking to him. I'm like, hey, what's up, Ghost? And it's like, he looked at me, he's like, I told him who I was. He's like, he was kind of like, you know, at that time he was drinking a lot, so he wouldn't, he was, how do you say, his vision was blurry, or I mean, how do you say it?
You know,
his memory fog, you want to call it? He's like, oh yeah, and I like, what's up, man? It's me, DEOKZ. He's like, oh yeah, what's up, bro? He's like, I'm sorry, but I can't really remember, but I used to go by the name. I used to be known by the name of Ghost, and we were talking and shit for a little bit. Then I had a dip, you know, and then like a week later, I heard he passed away.
Oh shit, yeah. So that was at the end right there.
Yeah,
he used to be cool. Like he like back to, you know, before the internet and all that. Like he would write our names down, like, cause like my high school was Cleveland right there. So like between my house in Cleveland, the Taco was right in the middle. So like I would see, like, you know, coming home from school, and like he would bust out letters on the little napkin and shit. I go home and practice that shit. He's a real cool, humble dude. You know.
That's right.
Yeah, man. All those fools were like big, like those guys like. Dash, fucking Real. Like those were cool ass fools. I always looked up to the UTI as humble ass Valley. There's like Valley legends, you know.
Yeah, UTI is doing it right now.
Yeah, a lot of these crews are just making like big additions to like making big pushes coming back. You know. Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of these older crews are like just doing heavy re-improvements,
They're getting all the ones that have been in the game for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so right now, like with your situation with your crews and stuff, like, are you feeling like you're gonna continue riding for a long time, like until you're done, or like what are you thinking your next step is?
Well, right now, I'm just focusing on like working on myself, working on my family.
That's right.
I mean, there's times I still, don't get me wrong, I still catch texts here and there. You know what I mean?
I just seen you, but I was like, I just got a pizza from a fucking Pizza Hut, and I seen you right next to the window right there. Like just,
the glass eater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Here and there, you know, I try to fucking get one in.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, shit. I've been wanting to get into piecing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get into piecing and shit because I mean, bombing and shit, I could do that anytime, you know.
Yeah.
But I want to like focus on my letters and shit, you know.
Yeah.
Start getting creative and all that shit. But
it's therapeutic, man. Like, you know, you just get down there and start drawing. Like I never thought I just always like tagging. I didn't even think really I would ever be like sitting there trying to bomb and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then recently, like some fool from Colorado just hit me up for some canvases, you know, and fucking bought some canvases. And I was just like, damn, it's just a trip. It's humbling, you know, like because I'm something, you know, I never thought in a million years I'd even be interested in something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming, man. And if fucking you think about anything that we missed, we'll bring you back. You know, we'll go catch a spot sometime and shit.
Shit. You know what? This not really right now, bro. You know, shit. I haven't been painting in a while, but like I said, there's times I get it in. You know what I mean? I know I got a few spots running that have been running over a year and shit. I got a tag that's been running since 2007 and shit, but that's in a little cutty. That's the only tag I have right now since 2007, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I had a picture of it right now, but if I find it, I'll send it to you, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, dog, thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
You know, not a lot of people fucking, you know, they, how do you say, appreciate the underdogs and shit.
Nah, you know, you know what, I like the people that, like, you know, from the same area, like, you know, like, I like people that are like been in the scene for a long time and like, you know, they fucking, I could tell, you know, you love Graff too, you know, like you're just like me, you know, like, and this is it, you know, like this, we're both from the valley, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm always gonna put the valley people out there, you know, like the fucking people from the crews and shit represent.
Yeah.
And you know, keep this history going, and it's just gonna build, like it's just gonna end up being like a catalog of, you know, like dope shit. Like you're gonna see a lot of like fucking writers. So if you know any writers that you think I should fucking interview, you know, let me know. Or if anyone ever said, hey, I saw that, you know, like, you know, they'd be interested, it'd be like, hey, fucking link them up with me, you know, like I'll take. And anyone listening to this, you want to fucking, you know, put your story out there, you want to put a memory out there, like one of your homeboys that passed away, hit my DM, you know, hit me up, and fucking let's do it, you know.
I'm down, bro. Thanks for having me on, man.
All right, brother.
Yeah.